What's up everybody, my name is Timo and today I'm going to show you the desk setup that I've been using for gaming as well as making these videos and do other work aside from that for almost the entire last year. Let's go! Okay, so as for my desk itself, this is a very frequently used combination of an IKEA Alex drawer and some tabletop that I don't remember the exact name of, but I bet you have seen this on YouTube a ton of times now. However, I'm strongly considering getting a motorized standing desk because not only is it better for your back, but also I noticed that sitting for an extended period of time can be quite uncomfortable for me. And that is especially true on this off-brand sort of gaming chair that I bought like 4 years ago, and you can just tell that it's quite old and not enjoyable to sit in anymore. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about my PC too much. In summary, just Ryzen 5 3600 RTX 2060 Super. If you want to see the other components and how it holds up in games as well as benchmarks, I've made a whole video about that you can check out right here, but I'm just not going to go over all that again. Alright, so my keyboard is the Shortcoon Pure Rider, and I went with that because it's a very nice low profile mechanical keyboard, as I don't like the look and typing experience of like regular sized keyboards. And let me tell you, it is very hard to find a low profile mechanical keyboard that possibly is also 10 keyless such as this for a reasonable price. I mean, I could have gone with the Corsair K70, but that would have cost me over 3 times than what I paid for this, and I don't think that that's a reasonable upgrade to make. And of course, as almost any other keyboard on the market, it has RGB lighting, which is controlled not through software, but through the actual keys themselves. So you can do all sorts of things, like you can set a solid color, you can do some snake pattern, complete randomness, or like your rainbow look. But most of the time I have it set to white. Sue me. Okay, so my mouse of choice is the Harpoon Wireless from Corsair, and I went with that because of a few reasons, and the first one being it's wireless, which was a very big deal for me as I find wired mice very annoying to use. I mean, you could still use it wired if you wanted to with the included USB-A to micro USB cable, and by the way, I hate that it still has micro USB. I think that no piece of tech that comes out in 2020 should have micro USB. Stop using micro USB. Stop it.
Get some help.
And it uses Corsair's slipstream technology, which reduces the time that the dongle takes to recognize what the mouse is doing to 1 millisecond, which is near nothing, and I think that's a very great thing to have such a low input lag from the mouse to the dongle. The weight is normal, about 99 grams, and the shape is very comfortable to use for my, I guess, average sized hands, and you also get a place to comfortably rest your thumb, which also has a 3-dimensional like triangle shaped pattern, just to make it a little bit more grippy, which I really like. In addition, you also get 2 extra buttons on the thumb area and a DPI button on the middle of the mouse. And in Corsair IQ, you can customize these DPI settings as well as your RGB lighting. So on paper, this is a very good mouse, considering that you get all of this for $60, and the only thing that I have to complain about is that it doesn't have USB-C. But not everything is perfect though, because I've had 2 of these now, and the first one just didn't register like right clicks sometimes, and the second one, this one, sometimes decides to just do 2, and both of them had a problem where the mouse just started glitching and wouldn't respond whatsoever, even though it was plugged directly into my PC, which is like half a meter away from the mouse, and the battery is full. So I don't know what the problem is there, and I hope that not every mouse is like this, but unfortunately the 2 mice that I've used have had that problem. Okay, so my monitor is the LG 29WN600W. Great name, LG. It is a 29-inch ultrawide with a 2560 by 1080 resolution, so a 21:9 aspect ratio, with a flat screen, so not a curved one, because I think at 29 inches having a curve is not really necessary. And I went with that because I thought that a 16:9 monitor wouldn't really be immersive enough, it wouldn't bring me into the game as much, so an ultrawide was the obvious choice, but I didn't think that my PC would be able to handle 1440p gaming for too long, especially in AAA games, so I just went with a 1080p monitor for now, but maybe if I decide to upgrade my PC in the future to a better GPU, like a 3070 or so, then maybe I'm also gonna upgrade my monitor as well. And what I didn't want to sacrifice too much is a higher frame rate, because most ultrawides with a higher frame rate are crazy expensive, and so I didn't just go for like a 144Hz monitor, because This has out of the box at least 75 Hz, which in itself is already quite an improvement over the standard 60 Hz from most monitors, but I actually overclocked it to 78 Hz, which, yeah, you can overclock your monitor as well. And I can say that I personally really notice the extra Hertz, so although it's not that much, it is still very nice to have. Anything above 60 is great. But it was also very important to me to have AMD FreeSync built in, because then I could take advantage of adaptive sync, which is just NVIDIA being compatible with AMD FreeSync. So there's that. Okay, so I already showcased my USB hub in my last video about some affordable tech under $30, but essentially it's just a normal USB hub with an SD and micro SD card slot built into it. And because my PC doesn't have a lot of USB ports on the front, in fact it's just one full size and one USB-C port, it comes in very handy for me very often, especially with the micro SD and SD card slot. Okay, so up until recently I've had a different desk lamp that was very industrial looking, but unfortunately I'm an idiot and I dropped it, so I had to get a new one. And given that my last one was pretty futuristic looking, if you will, because it didn't have any physical buttons and it had this kind of weird shape where it was just two metal sheets stacked on top of each other with an LED panel on one side, I wanted to go back a bit and get a more organic looking, wooden desk lamp. And so I just went to Amazon and searched for wooden desk lamps with an E27 mount, which is the mount for regular sized light bulbs, because I wanted to put some RGB or just smart light bulb in general in there, which I just settled on this particular model. And I put in a light bulb from the company Yeelight, which I'm gonna make a video about that in the future, because I think that Philips Hue is stupidly overpriced. As for audio, I'm using a pair of Audio-Technica M30Xs, which came out in 2016, so they're a little bit on the older side, but headphones don't really get worse over time, they just like some features maybe. They're over-ear headphones with 40mm drivers on each side and a soundstage of 15Hz to 22 kHz, and they are mostly made out of plastic with a little bit of metal here and there, and they appear to be very sturdy, but if you crank them or if you twist them enough, it feels like they could snap in half any second though. However, you can just throw them into your backpack without worrying about them at all, because they fold in very nicely, and they also have a carrying pouch that is made out of leather and that protects them. Now, I said that they're over-ear headphones because that's what they claim to be, but they're not really big enough to not touch my ears entirely, so especially because the ear cushions are not all that soft, you will definitely feel some ear fatigue after a couple of hours. But as with all audio gear, the most important thing is sound quality, and they sound pretty neutral, which at first doesn't really sound like a lot, but that just means that no soundstage such as bass or anything is exaggerated, so everything sounds very natural. Which is especially important if you do anything that relies on you being able to hear everything as natural as possible, such as video production or music. However, I'm not getting anywhere near the maximum potential out of them because I use them with a cheap 6.3 to 3.5mm adapter to actually make them work with my PC, because I don't have an amp. And most of the music that I listen to is from Spotify, so I wouldn't really hear a difference even if I had an amp, because the music there is compressed anyway. They're, in my opinion, a great pair of headphones for only $50, and although I'm not an audiophile, I definitely do appreciate some good sound, and these are by far the best headphones, the best sounding headphones that I've ever owned. And my microphone of choice is the Fifine K669, which was featured in an LTT video about a budget streaming setup, as well as a few random Frank P videos, and it's a great mic for a budget price, and it can easily be mistaken for costing way more than it actually does. Take a listen. Okay, so this is a quick and unedited sound test of the Fifine K669 USB microphone, and I think that especially for such a low price, it delivers some seriously good sound quality, and it's not comparable to a similarly priced headset, even if you take into consideration that the headphones were also $50. Okay, so that about wraps up my entire gaming and video editing setup. And as you can see, originally I really liked the sort of black and white aesthetic, but over the time I've kind of changed my mind about that, because I think that this is looking very sterile and not really all that great anymore. I think it looks way too white, and it's giving me some office or cubicle vibes, which I don't want at all. So I think I'm gonna switch that up at some point in the future, maybe get a darker wall, a different table, maybe the standing desk as mentioned earlier, and maybe that will help make it a little bit more cozy and fun to work with. And I'm still gonna keep that minimal approach because I don't think that headphone stands or mouse pads should have RGB lighting. I think that just looks ridiculous. And I'm definitely gonna make a video about that setup makeover in the future, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. But that's it for this video, and I really hope you enjoyed watching and I could maybe even give you some inspiration for your own setup. And if so, then please let me know if you've liked the video or not, either through a like or a comment. And if you didn't like the video, then please let me know why so I can improve, because I'm still learning. And if you want to see more of my videos, then please feel free to subscribe to my channel. That would genuinely mean a lot to me, and maybe I'm gonna see you in the next one. Peace.